I don't want to get ahead of anything here, and the last thing I would do is wish that Alex Nedeljkovic was hurt or something insane like that. That said, it sure is nice to see what Yoel Blomqvist is doing in this preseason. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates that I hope you'll also check out. Penguins 5, Red Wings 1 last night in Detroit. And yeah, the Wings actually used their players. Now, I understand there's all kinds of asterisks that come with exhibition hockey, but that nonetheless was a quality effort by the visitors who were not using all of their guys. Noel Acciari with a couple of goals, Lars Eller, Drew O'Connor, and then Vasily Ponomarev with the empty netter sealed it up. Penalty killers were 5 of 6 and impressively pulled that off in a fairly tight time window, which is to say they were out there shorthanded a lot and just kept battling. But even there, the main guy battling, the most important guy battling was, of course, your most important penalty killer, which is always your goaltender. Blomqvist ended up stopping 20 out of 21 shots after Nedeljkovic left early with what Mike Sullivan would only describe as a lower body injury that he said has to get checked out. So for all we know, Ned's going to be right back. Or he could be out for a long time. That's the nature of reporting on hockey injuries. You just have no idea. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. But if Ned is out, and you flash forward to October 9 and the opener against the Rangers here at PPG Paints Arena, that's almost certainly going to be a Tristan Jarry start. And then there's another game the next day, right back in Detroit, against most of these same Red Wings that Blomqvist just took on last night. So you see where I'm going here. If you haven't looked already at the Penguins' October schedule, and by the way, happy October to everybody today, it's no picnic. Tough teams, some tough travel, long trip across Canada, all the way to the other side. And they're going to need, I think, top 10 level goaltending to get through it with a respectable record. And I also think they're going to need a respectable record in October to, kind of set the vibe for the kind of team they're going to be. They're saying all the right things right now. They're doing a lot of the right things on the ice, including in these exhibitions. Talking about defending well, actually defending well. Talking about 200-foot hockey and then going out there and committing that. Awesome. Wonderful. You still need some kind of positive reinforcement to make that work toward the goal that they're all openly discussing, which is qualifying for the Stanley Cup playoffs for the first time in 3 years. I know that sounds weird to be talking about in Pittsburgh, but when you haven't made it 2 years in a row, you've got to achieve at the very least getting back into the tournament. I said this 2 summers ago. I said it last summer. I'm going to say it again. None of this happens without a high level of goaltending, not just from Jarry, but from whatever constitutes the team tandem. And that's where maybe Blomqvist comes in. I don't know in what form. It could be something like this. It could be an injury. It could be poor performance from either Jarry or Ned. It could also be that he just shines. That's what he did last night. He shined in Detroit. This was Sullivan after the game.
I thought he was terrific. He made some big saves, especially against their power play in the second period. We were We were on a penalty kill exhibition for a lot of the second period, and I thought he was a big part of it. We only gave up one goal, given the amount of opportunities they got. I thought the kill did a really good job, and he was a big part of it. He made some big saves. So, he's responded really well. The first game maybe wasn't his best in Buffalo. That was a tough game against a real good lineup that particular night, but ever since then, I think he's responded extremely well. And we'll see where it goes from here, but we're real encouraged with his response.
Yeah, go nuts, kid. Show him what you got. Same goes for Sergei Murashov. I mean, he's in the minors. Everyone knew he would start out in the minors. But do something. Put on a show. Put on a clinic. Force your way in. Take the Matt Murray path. Murray wasn't waiting for something to go wrong in Pittsburgh. Murray was just awesome in the AHL. When we come back, J1Q. Today's J1Q comes from Dom, who says, "Yo, DK." I watched the Penguins over the weekend, and I've been surprised by some of the intensity. My question for you is, does Boko Imama make it through the sea of forwards for a spot on the team? The guy's a beast. Can he play? We could use the grit, provided he has other skills. I think he certainly would deter other teams from taking advantage. There's a lot of thoughts about enforcer roles in hockey, almost all of which dump on the concept, who see it as something that's outdated, who see it as something that's just eating up a roster spot that could go to an actual hockey player, as they'll put it in their arguments. So you're right that this does have to be, if you have someone doing this, someone who can play the game at least at a level that's a good fit for your head coach's system. And I know that's not the way that most people would say that, but I do say it in Pittsburgh, because if there's a non-qualifier under Mike Sullivan, it's that you're not going to be on the team if you're a winger and you can't be first on the forecheck. He has to have speed on the wings. So to answer your question, or to try to answer it, since it's a hypothetical, Imama's looked good in the preseason. He's looked like he's most definitely not overwhelmed in the hockey sense. And on a couple of occasions, not going to lie to you here, I've seen him do things along the boards in tight quarters with pucks that were so smooth, so deft, that they were, gasp, Dominic Simone worthy. And if you followed Simone and understood why his advanced analytics were high, as opposed to just yelling at him because he didn't score goals, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I've seen some of that in this kid. Could the Penguins in general use more toughness? Could they use someone to take care of business, to maybe function as a little bit of a deterrent? If you're a believer in that sort of thing, and by the way, people inside hockey absolutely are, yeah, is he going to make the team out of training camp? I've heard nothing to support that yet. And I think, if anything, you'd want to make sure that he's continuing to develop those hockey skills and continuing to develop into a complete player. And then maybe he's one of those guys that you bring up in certain situations or against certain opponents. But no, my answer to your question is no. I don't believe that he makes it out of the sea of forwards to start the season with the Penguins. But I do believe you're going to see him at some point in the season, and maybe multiple points in the season. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Penguins. I'm heading to the rink tonight to cover Penguins versus Red Wings. What it seems like they play every night now. It's like baseball or something. But I'll be doing that, and we'll talk about it on tomorrow's show.